Disclaimer. This movie review is inspired by content from Uchenna Mubanabo TV02. All credits to the original creators and producers. This review is for commentary, entertainment, transformative purposes only. If there's one thing this movie teaches immediately, it's that pain can turn people into strangers, even to themselves. Me, You, and Luna starts like a normal office drama, but before you know it, it pulls you into an emotional roller coaster filled with cruelty, trauma, healing, comedy, heartbreak, and unexpected love. And honestly, this movie will frustrate you, make you laugh, annoy you, and still somehow leave your heart warm at the end. From the very first boardroom scene, we meet Joshua, the CEO everybody fears. Not respects, fears. This man did not come to play. The way he entered that meeting and started dismantling people's confidence one after another, I already knew workers in that company must wake up every morning with prayer and fasting. Imagine presenting a report and instead of encouragement, your boss asks when the company started rewarding effort instead of results. Oh, the tension in that room alone could raise somebody's blood pressure. Joshua is cold, harsh, emotionally unavailable, and constantly angry. Every little mistake becomes a national emergency. Coffee is too sweet? Problem. Someone answers late? Problem. Dog food finished? Another problem. The man operates like a military commander mixed with a motivational speaker that hates motivation.
But the movie cleverly makes you ask one important question. Was Joshua always like this? At first, you'll probably hate him. In fact, most viewers will spend the first half of the movie shouting at their screen. Why is this man wicked like this? And honestly, the workers had every right to complain. The environment was toxic. Nobody could breathe freely around him. Even the security guards looked traumatized. The poor staff practically developed survival instincts. One wrong sentence and you're finished. But somehow, the movie balances all this seriousness with hilarious moments. The side characters deserve serious praise because they brought life into the story, especially the workers gossiping about Joshua behind his back. Their conversations felt natural, relatable, and very Nigerian. Then comes Ogechi. Fresh out of NYSC posting, hopeful, cheerful, outspoken, and completely unaware of the storm waiting for her. And trust this movie, her first encounter with Joshua had to happen in the most dramatic way possible. The scene where she mistakenly bumps into him outside the office was both funny and painful to watch. Instead of accepting her apology like a normal human being, Joshua immediately started raining insults. But what made the moment satisfying was that Ogechi actually spoke back. You know those moments in movies where someone finally says what everybody else is afraid to say? That was the moment.
She called him rude to his face. Bad move, because this man carried the grudge into the office and immediately ordered HR to terminate her appointment. Imagine getting fired on your first day because you accidentally offended a CEO you didn't even recognize. That part was stressful. But this is where the movie starts becoming more than just a workplace drama. Instead of completely throwing her out, Joshua offers her a strange deal. Keep her finance position while also working as his personal assistant, both at the office and at home. At this point, viewers already knew Ogechi's suffering had officially begun. And suffer she did. This girl practically became a full-time emotional punching bag. Joshua criticized everything. Her timing, her perfume, her speech, her movement, her silence. Even breathing too loudly probably annoyed him. Yet, despite everything, Ogechi remained patient. Not weak, patient. That's an important difference. She defended herself when necessary, but she also understood that beneath Joshua's cruelty was someone deeply damaged. And this is where the movie slowly begins peeling back Joshua's emotional layers. The real turning point of the story comes when we learn what happened to his parents. That revelation changed everything.
Finding out that his parents survived an accident for hours while people ignored them, recorded videos, and even stole from them before they eventually died, that pain explains why Joshua lost faith in humanity. Suddenly, his emotional walls made sense. The movie does not excuse his behavior, but it explains it. And that's good writing. Trauma changed him into someone who believes depending on people only leads to disappointment. So he chose control over connection, structure over emotion, isolation over vulnerability. And then there's Luna. Honestly, Luna is the emotional heartbeat of this entire film. Luna is not just a pet. She represents Joshua's last emotional attachment to love and softness, the only thing capable of calming him down, the only being he trusts completely. The scenes between Joshua and Luna were surprisingly touching. You could see the version of him that once existed before grief hardened him. That's why when Luna goes missing, everything changes.
That entire sequence was one of the strongest parts of the movie. For the first time, Joshua completely breaks emotionally. The powerful CEO who controls everybody suddenly becomes desperate, scared, vulnerable, and human. The panic in his voice while searching for Luna felt real. And Ogechi, she stepped up immediately. This was the moment where her role shifted from employee to emotional anchor. Instead of judging him, she helped him. Instead of mocking his attachment to a dog, she understood it. The flyer scenes, the searching, the encouragement. This was the beginning of Joshua finally letting someone into his emotional space again. One thing I really appreciated was how natural their bond developed afterward. The movie didn't rush into romance immediately. It allowed trust to grow first. That matters. Because honestly, if they had jumped straight into love after all the insults Joshua threw around earlier, it would have felt unrealistic. Instead, we slowly watch him soften, little by little. He starts listening more, talking more, smiling more, even joking occasionally. And the funniest part? Everybody around them noticed before they did. The office staff practically turned into relationship analysts overnight. Now, let's talk about the humor, because this movie was unexpectedly hilarious. The negotiation scene over Luna's reward money nearly finished me. That scene felt so authentically Nigerian that I could already imagine people replaying it online. Run the 5 million! The bargaining, the chaos, the confusion, it was comedy gold. And then there's the supporting staff in Joshua's house. These people carried the comic relief on their backs. Their gossip sessions, complaints, and dramatic reactions balanced the emotional heaviness of the story perfectly. Another thing the movie did well was showing class differences without becoming preachy. Ogechi came from struggle. Her mother was sick. She needed stability. She endured humiliation because survival sometimes forces people into uncomfortable situations. Meanwhile, Joshua had wealth, power, and influence. Yet emotionally, he was completely empty. The movie quietly asks, what's the point of success if you cannot feel peace? That question sits underneath the entire story. One of my favorite scenes was when Ogechi finally confronted Joshua emotionally. Not angrily, not disrespectfully, honestly. She told him the truth nobody else dared to say, that he was hurting and using cruelty to protect himself. That scene mattered because, for once, somebody saw through the CEO mask, and Joshua listened. Not immediately, not easily, but he listened. The acting in this movie deserves praise too. Joshua's actor did a great job balancing intimidation with vulnerability. It would have been easy to make the character one-dimensional, but the emotional scenes gave him depth. Ogechi's actress also carried her role beautifully. She brought warmth, patience, humor, and emotional intelligence into the story. She didn't play the typical helpless love interest. She challenged Joshua while still understanding his pain. Their chemistry became stronger once the emotional walls started falling. And that confession scene near the end? Beautifully written.
No unnecessary shouting, no overdramatic background noise, just honest vulnerability. Joshua admitting that she brought light back into his life after years of emotional darkness was genuinely touching. The line about craving her presence without realizing it hit especially hard. Because throughout the movie, you can literally watch him relearning how to be human again. And Ogechi saying yes felt earned. Not forced, not random. Earned. The ending also gives viewers emotional satisfaction without becoming unrealistically perfect. Joshua becomes kinder, the office atmosphere improves, Ogechi earns permanent employment, and her mother finally gets access to proper treatment. Growth happened naturally.
Even the final company meeting scene showed how much Joshua changed. The same man who once ruled through fear now publicly appreciated his workers and rewarded them. That moment mattered because it proved healing is possible. Overall, Me, You, and Luna is more than just a romance movie. It's a story about grief, emotional isolation, second chances, healing, and the people who slowly help us become ourselves again. Yes, some moments were dramatic. Yes, Joshua was extremely frustrating at times. And yes, viewers will probably want to slap him at least 15 times before the movie ends. But underneath all that anger was a broken man who forgot how to trust people. And underneath Ogechi's patience was someone who understood that healing often starts with compassion. The movie reminds us that sometimes the loudest anger hides the deepest pain. And sometimes love doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it quietly sits beside your brokenness until you remember how to live again. Rating? I'd give this movie a strong 8.5 out of 10. Emotional, funny, frustrating, heartwarming, and surprisingly deep. Plus, Luna deserves an award too, because that dog carried emotional responsibility on behalf of the entire cast. If you enjoyed this emotional breakdown of Me, You, and Luna, don't forget to subscribe to Flicks and Feels for more heartfelt movie reviews, hidden lessons, emotional storytelling, and Nigerian movie recaps that truly connect with the soul. Turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload.